live right now, so just saying. I think we might actually be live.
I get a lot of fuzz.
Welcome to the scary door.
We it looks like we're good.
Apparently, we are indicated for adult audiences only.
That is true. Because you chumps swear like pirates. Lol jokes.
We do.
Just in case, because we have the propensity to swear. Like, let's not beat around the bush.
Yeah. And I do like my rum.
I'm pretty sure pirates swear less than us. Actually, we're besmirching the good name of pirates.
Really clean pirates,
maybe. They don't. Maybe pirates are just as filthy and salty as we expect them to be.
That's true. Maybe. But anyway,
and that's the real shock.
So we're on the internet.
Welcome to Pirate
now,
Chat
everyone.
2016.
So now everyone can spam their social media networks to let them know that we're playing a game.
Okay. Tonight on Roll for Perception, what you don't know about pirates could kill you.
We're going all current affair style.
The answer may shock you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in game-related news, this is going to be proper session 1. Like, this is minimal to no prep and all game, hopefully. And that's very exciting, if you ask me.
I think we should kick in with a scene. You guys ready? Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
I've got character sheets open.
Fuck yeah.
Basically, I'm going to give us a warm-up moment, having the three of you, Ellis, Calloway, and Guy Powers. Can't say Guy by itself. Guy Powers is a two-name combo.
He seems like the kind of guy that would demand that you say it that way if you don't.
Exactly. Fist shaking occurs. So yeah, I think maybe let's have a casual scene where you guys are just throwing some banter around. So whereabouts do you guys want to get social? Do you guys want to do some bar talk? Do you guys want to be like kicking it in the mess hall?
Oh, we're in the RSL for sure.
Does that have context outside of Australia?
Working men's club.
Yeah, there you go. Solid. Good work.
But isn't it specifically related to veterans?
Anyway, we can be at a place where there's alcohol. Or the mess hall. Either way would be fine with me. Alice would probably have a propensity to get a quiet drink on after work, whether there's people to socialise with or not.
Okay. All right. So you guys are in like a very small colony outpost pub. Basically, there's a few miners, a few resource hunters and gatherers out there. You guys would probably be passing through. Definitely not stationed here on a permanent basis. You guys are en route to you've been called to a meeting the next day, and you guys are small on a moon, basically, not far away from the main planet, which we are yet to name, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think
I
can't recall a name.
Go name the planet. This is the colony planet that everyone's based on.
This is totally
Klaxon 5.
I was gonna say, I bet
Wow.
who's gonna say Klaxon 5? It was just a matter of time.
Obion Persei 8.
Well, I don't want to Google names and stuff because my internet is on tenterhooks while streaming. So if you guys can come up with something, that would be awesome.
I like Kalax.
It's kind of.
I'm feeling like a new something. Like just pick like an awkward, like non-capital city from Earth and just put new in front of it. Like New Perth or something.
Ooh.
I think the old Perth is more than enough.
What about Nulia? Oh, we've got Brip. I'm using a planet generator.
Oh, okay.
Ripper 17U.
Oh.
Was that Ripper?
Come on, we've got to be pretty easy to like. This is the heart of humanity's push into the unknown. There wouldn't be, maybe would they call it? Maybe they just call it Novus, Novus.
Maybe, or would they even name it, or would they just give it like a referential number of some sort because they're just colonizing as opposed to
Well, maybe when they got to this planet, they thought this will be our land, and we shall call it our land.
Well, Novus would, that would
they
be.
played with dinosaurs a little bit.
I mean, we called the show Nova Terra.
One's seen 5.
We did call the show
Not a
Nova
single
Terra
one of
for a
us.
reason. So,
You guys debate that for one moment. I'll be back in a sec.
okay.
Okay.
Because
No, this planet generator's got some pretty good shit.
hit us up.
Freginus.
New Melbourne, but you got to say it Melbourne.
Not doing it.
Melbourne,
Are you from Yorkshire?
Yorkshire.
Are you from Herefordshire?
Stop.
Oh, this is the best one for sure. Hang on.
What about
What do you got
Frontier
for us?
World name generator?
I like the concept of letters and numbers in there as well.
Froth
works
Froth.
for me.
08M.
Froth 08M.
What drunk bastard wrote
Yeah.
this name generator?
Froth. This is great. Can we call it Froth?
He looked at his
Can we all
beer.
vote? Can
I'm down for Froth 08.
we all push really hard for Froth?
Yeah, I'm
Look.
cool with Froth.
To be honest, no. I probably won't. It's like it's too funny. Like this is a serious thing we're playing here.
Froth. I just want to see Ash's face when we're all like, "Yeah, we've decided to name the planet Froth 08M."
Look, I'm willing to go as
Deadpan.
far as
Funny.
pulling one over Ash real quick. That I can definitely roll with.
I don't know if I could keep a straight face while saying Froth.
You're laughing already.
To be honest. Yeah.
It's alright. I'll put it forth.
Okay.
Ascalon, that sounds kind of cool. I found a different planet generator. Abrilia. That's this is not bad, this one. That's a terrible. Let's skip that one. Terrible. Alright, so it did 2 good ones, and now it's just putting out random letters. No, that's crap. Come on, man. You started so well. What are you doing? What?
Do it. People are into it. People are into Froth.
Can't even say that one.
Froth
No,
08M.
Inaz, don't encourage these hooligans.
Yeah, they're a bunch of very smart people.
You can't say a bunch when it's one person, bro. It's misappropriating
Got
the
4 people
pronoun.
watching.
Udcripe. This is just so bad. Lecuproth? Wow. Alright, this one's had its time in the sun. It's doing a bad job.
Hold on. I've got a great idea for some nasty foreshadowing as well.
Hit us.
All right. See if you guys are up to date with your movie concepts here. If I can find the name. Okay. What if we call the colony LV-426?
I know what that's from. That's from fucking Alien.
Oh, there you go. I knew it rang a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Meg.
Damn it, Meg.
Nah, it's forever going to be known as Froth 08M
Maybe
now.
it's colloquially known as Froth.
Yeah, I'll be calling it Froth. No problem.
Classic. You dang chumps.
Hey, it's not our fault the name generator came up with something that good.
But it's your fault
It
you're
is pretty
using
good.
it. Just saying.
Or would the greater travesty be not using it?
No. I'm sticking with using it. Corporate
Where
locations.
is the Space Master?
I'm not sure. Maybe Baby Ash has summoned him away.
This is why we kind of nice things.
I just went
and
on a
for that we're calling it Froth. That's it. Executive decision.
I went on another generator, cyberpunk locations. I press generate.
Yes.
One of them that comes up is Stuttgart, which is an existing place in Germany.
Yeah, that's it. We're calling it Nova Stuttgart. I love it. It's happening.
Oh, so dumb. I'm sorry, sci-fi generator, but come on, like, do some research first.
I say we call it the display case.
I think we should. No, that'll be like a gulch or a valley somewhere. It'll be colloquially known as the display case. But I came across a station in Rebel Galaxy today called Farrenbach.
It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
This is another
It's
one.
fun to say.
Manchester. Like, what? All right.
It's easy, dude. Just put new in the front of a place that doesn't have a new, and you've got a space colony. Easy.
Yeah, but I'm trying to see like a cool name to like put at the end that like doesn't really exist so far. New Kenya came up in this generator.
Nice.
New Kalahari.
Hang on.
What about...
Maybe we should ask the Space Master if the colonists are from a common place or have a common nationality. It might influence our decision. Frothian. Looks like you're frothing right now, buddy.
Doradus Prime. Prime at the end of something also can be cool and very
Prime
spacey.
usually works. Yeah. Assuming we're on the
about
the main
Terra?
planet of the system.
In all seriousness, what about Froth Prime?
I like it.
You can't say in all seriousness and then end it with that.
New Frothalonia.
It's not how this works.
Froth 7.
Yeah, Froth 7.
How far away from
Froth's
the
on
sun?
5.
Something good's going to come out of this generator.
No, what?
Ether 4, that sounds kind of cool.
What does?
Ether, as in like
Ether.
ethereal. You know, that's
Ether Prime.
That's not bad.
That's fucking right, dog. That's bad fucking ass.
So it's like
And we've just earned only a rating right there.
like that.
Yeah, Ether Prime. I can deal with that. I am on board. Like second only to Froth.
I don't know what it means, but Wadget, that's an interesting one.
Wadget.
Antil,
That sounds like some kind of innuendo.
Kothar, that's kind of cool. Is Kothar a Star Wars thing, or am I making
New
that up?
Froth is the obvious choice. Chat's got my back here.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I reckon you've got to be new.
All right.
New
Ash,
Frothalonia.
we've decided we're going to call this colony Froth 08M.
I knew
I
this
couldn't
wasn't.
do it. I'm sorry.
I knew this wasn't going to work. This was allegedly
No,
out of
it's-
a sci-fi name generator.
Yeah,
If
in all
you don't like
seriousness,
New Froth or Froth Prime.
or new Frothalonia, we will also settle for.
Well,
I'm
Look,
speechless.
in Roll20
Or
chat,
+1 Ellis.
I did suggest Ether Prime, which came
Ether
from
Prime is a close second
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yeah.
though Inaz from
Maybe
chat
the moon.
is voting for New Froth for some reason.
Yeah, they love it. They're loving every minute of it.
Oh, Inez, you and your new
just as a-
frothness.
Just as a means of influencing our decision here, where are the colonists from, and are they all from the same place?
Yeah, so they would have originally all come from Earth. Back generations ago.
Okay. See, I was suggesting like picking a non-capital city that exists on Earth today and just putting new in front of it.
Like, what was
New
that?
Canberra.
Canberra. I like New Melbourne.
About New Newcastle.
New New York. New Las Vegas.
No, New York already exists in the Futurama universe.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right.
New
Though
Los
technically
Angeles.
it is New York.
San Francisco.
Sam Froth Okio.
New Frisco.
Froth Vegas.
Yeah, Froth Vegas. San
I'm down. I'm
Francisco.
down like a clown for that.
Can we call the moon Froth 08M? Okay, cool. I reckon Aether Prime is as good as anything then for the planet.
Yeah, I'll concede Aether Prime.
Aether or Ether?
Ether.
I think
Ether
it's meant to be
Ether,
pronounced
whatever.
ether.
It is pronounced Ether, yeah. As far as
Yep.
I'm aware.
But Froth 08M could be like the cool, like, yeah, one of the moons where there's a lot of hanging out. Maybe like a transitory moon where people
Yeah.
go to other places.
Or like the most frontier world in the system, like the harshest, Froth 08M is where people go to prove themselves. Where
No,
young
it's the
men,
it's the party planet
where
for sure.
boys become men.
Maybe that's you guys are at the pub on Froth 08M,
Yeah.
and that's like the intersystem transit point. So for Ether Prime, if you're going to go anywhere, you go to Froth 08M first, and then it's kind of like the space station sort of spot, but it's not space station. It's on the moon,
Yeah.
and that's where you load up on the big transit ships, and you move across the system to the gas giants and the asteroid belt and all the other outposts where there's shit going down. So it's like the little hub of activity for Ether Prime. Ether Prime is, you wouldn't normally take your massive transporter ships straight down to the massive cities and stuff because they don't enter the Earth's atmosphere, the ether's atmosphere. So yeah, massive transporters are just hanging about the moon. So there might be one or two of those in orbit around the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Might be able to see the shadow of those larger transport ships from the surface of Ether Prime as well. When you're looking up at the moon at night, you just see these other globs of spaceship floating around it
That's heaps
in the
cool.
dusk light.
When you glance up at Froth of an evening.
It's become one of those things that are you going to get frothed? I'm going to get frothed, mate. Means you're leaving the planet.
Full froth tonight.
Yeah, a frothing moon.
Crescent froth.
Oh god.
Froth is looking beautiful tonight.
Okay, so all you guys know is you've known each other for some time, I believe. There's cross paths and various. I think you guys talked about your relationships in session 0. Is that right?
Oh, we did touch on them. Like hypothetically, what our relationships could be.
Yeah. We didn't nail anything down though.
Yeah.
Let's nail it down at a very high level. Let's not go into too much detail, but at a very high level. How do you guys know each other?
I feel like my connection to Alice is probably infrequent, but familiar. I come to you to get my things fixed.
Yeah, I feel like distant old friends,
and
like
sass you up.
distant good friends. Like we see each other once in a while, but when we do, it's like, and then we like shoot the shit and talk shop about car things.
Move into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be a similar thing for me as well. I think the Alice would, if anything, probably work on the vehicles of the research team that I work for.
Yeah, totally. I've got a very easy connection to most anyone who needs a vehicle in in Ether Prime. I would at least know at a cursory level.
So you could say that all roads lead to Alice.
Okay, cool. And would Calloway and Guy have come across each other at some point?
I'd say surely we would have been there at the same time at some point.
Yeah.
Don't go
But, I
there.
mean, do
Alright,
we
I heard that
want to
last.
throw in a deeper connection than that?
Yeah,
What
I
do
would
you
say
do again?
acquaintances. I would say acquaintances more than anything.
Okay.
Like,
We've never worked together?
Maybe my team sold you some research, some doubles that we've come across while doing some research. Maybe some animal material.
Well, I don't know if it's too silly, but like just knowing the kind of characters Rick might play, like you were out on an expedition and Rick Guy Powers just happened to be there, like he drove off course somewhere and he's like out in the middle of the woods in the some remote area.
We're out in
without
full
pants.
camouflage. No, we're out in like full camouflage. Like we've been lying in like a makeshift like shelter for days, like tracking this animal, and he like drives up in his vehicle, like horns blaring.
No. You've been out there for days tracking this animal, and then when you finally catch up with that animal, you find that it's like a half-drunk guy with hasn't shaved in days, not wearing pants, and then being like, "Oh, yeah, well, hey, thanks for finding me."
And an unlikely friendship occurred.
Yeah.
I'd also maybe suggest that on one of Callaway's research teams sojourns into deeper in the system, so perhaps like to like one of the rocky planets that's got no atmosphere and that sort of thing, a bit closer to the star of the system.
Yeah.
They might have needed like a ground vehicle expert to go on one or two of these sort of like exploratory missions.
I would say we would certainly know of each other and have worked together before, but like I wouldn't be inviting you around my house for family dinner.
No, I doubt many would.
Might meet up, might get frost from time to time, but
yeah, absolutely.
So it's probably more of a very professional but light-hearted relationship between Callaway and Guy.
As professional as Guy Powers can get. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Ellis is is I guess kind of the rock that if anything gets fucked, that Ellis will sort it out in terms of mechanical stuff, right?
We'll try very hard to.
Ellis
will happily break something in the pursuit of knowledge as well. Like, if you leave it in his hands, he's going to do something with it.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit of Borderlands scooter thrown in there as well. Get you rolling.
A little less incestual,
Get you ride.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. So you haven't seen each other for maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and wherever your last gig was, whatever the last job you were doing, you've been called back to Ether Prime to attend a council, council invite only kind of ceremony session meeting. So it's a bit mysterious. You know that you're being called in, as a group. You do know that you've been called in as a group.
Okay.
But you're not really sure of the reason for it. And there you are, having a few froth whiskies or whatever it is you might be having on froth, knowing that tomorrow you'll jump on a transport down to Ether for the meeting.
All right. Dang. Interesting.
So, I would like to roll for perception.
Oh,
And bust the whole game wide open.
There you go.
So the plot twist is... No.
What are you perceiving?
I'm surveying the bar to check what regulars are here, what characters I can see around the place.
Cool. Well, you don't need to roll for that because it's not really that challenging to look around the bar.
Yeah.
But I
want to. I'm purveying the bar from behind my drink.
Yeah, sweet. So basically, the bar is filled with a bunch of tired and exhausted men and women, most covered in some sort of grime, whether it's dirt, residue, or oil and grease. Most people's clothes and uniforms are patched together and a bit rough around the edges, a bit torn. Everyone's wearing boots. Everyone's skin is somewhat weathered and, potted with scars and things like that. There's probably about maybe 15 or 20 people in the bar. It could probably hold maybe 50 at a stretch.
Yeah.
So there is some sort of, it's not packed. There are some groups of people sitting around. There's, banter and chattering happening. There's some strange music. It's probably we haven't fired up the tunes yet. There's some strange music sort of kicking around. but nothing very prominent. There's probably a haze of some sort of vaporized, healthy vapor smoke, as opposed to super filthy tobacco.
That's the froth.
So yeah, it's a bit hazy and a bit dingy, kind of a bit like a old Irish pub.
So it's like the pub from Zoolander.
Don't know if I know that reference. But...
like a miner's pub.
Yeah, almost like a miner's, like workers' pub.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a miners' workers. Because again, the most part, people that work on froth are people who are loading the larger transport ships in and out with goods and stuff like that, or unloading resources that have been mined from other parts of the system. There might be like maybe one or two small factories on froth as well that's manufacturing some stuff. So it's pretty much that.
Sick.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
You guys feel right at home.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellis would be tucked away in a corner somewhere, maybe like the far end of the bar, but like maybe facing the main door, so he has something to look at if people are coming and going, and just quietly nursing a drink, happily either alone or maybe in the company of a small group. But he'd be puzzling about this summons. Ellis gets in his own head a lot, so he'd be trying to puzzle out what's going on while just casually nursing a frothy beer of some sort.
Yeah. Guy Powers would naturally go out of his way to make an entrance. So he's either late on purpose, or he's been hanging around in the shadows outside, waiting for what he perceives as enough people to enter. And then he bursts through the door and kind of tries his best to pose subtly, but it's not subtle enough, and just basically gives off the impression that he wants people to see him. Rocks up with dirty jeans, black biker boots, and a brown leather jacket. Hair is the only thing that's really neat, kind of greaser style,
Slicked back,
slicked up.
Nice.
He sort of does his little pose, "Hey, I'm here." Pulls out a comb, fixes in his hair, and struts over to Ellis.
How would you feel about me just casually rolling perception to see if Ellis knew you were waiting outside, like planning your entrance?
Do what you like, buddy.
just to make it funny, whether I noticed or not. I'll leave it up to the dice. I'll go a wisdom roll. Oh, nailed it. Alright, so I was fully aware that you staged your entrance, but I don't look up when you crash through the doors. And then as you meander over, I've waved to the bartender to get another drink ordered, and then I'd go so how long were you waiting for?
So
I'll just very carefully ignore you.
Yeah, I've ordered you over a drink as well, and push a stool out so you can sit down.
So at this stage, Callaway heads over to the table and puts a bottle down with 3 glasses.
Devious plan, I'm sure.
So some time passes, right?
Yep.
Some time passes. You guys are now toward the bottom of that bottle when 3 guys, 2 guys and one girl, I should say, 2 guys and one girl, enter the bar together and look around and notice you 3 sort of sitting over at a table. They give you one of those cursory upwards nods,
Yeah. Just acknowledge that we're there.
Yeah. And they go over to the bar and then sit down at the bar and start ordering some drinks over the bar. Now you recognize these guys, not from positive relationships or positive experiences. So if anything, this is the anti-group of you guys. This is Bizarro.
The other gang.
Shaun of the Dead. It's like Shaun of the Dead when they bump into like themselves going down that alley.
Kinda. Less like mirror images sort of vibe, but more of just like if you guys ever, I mean, not that it happens very often, but if you ever had a run-in with anyone, it would be one of these three.
Yeah. So I'll lean over to Ellis and Guy and say, "Have you seen these guys before?"
Yeah, I'm kind of just nodding, like eyes wide open, like suggestively, like being like, "Yeah, I'm quite familiar with these people," but I'm not, saying it with words. It's just like obviously, like maybe I inhale deeply as well, like with this to insinuate derision and frustration at seeing these people again. You know that body language. You know what I'm trying to suggest. And maybe glance over at Guy as well. Be like, I'm sure you guys have seen.
No,
these people
I just
around.
I glance up at you and then just down at my drink and kind of ignore the question.
I'll turn around with the rest of the bottle, kind of wave it at these guys and say, "Grab some glasses, come and join us."
Two of them are dealing with the bartender, and it's the woman who sort of spots you, sort of beckoning over for the invite, and she doesn't really respond in any form. She just sort of turns her head back to the conversation that's happening next to them.
I swing back around in my chair and say, "Fair enough, your loss."
I immediately snatch the bottle, and even if our drinks are almost full, I'd pour some more just to like try and get through it, so there's less to share with them if they decide to change their minds. I'm doing that like look busy pouring drinks kind of thing, even if like if they're 3/4 full.
Sweet. So they find a table pretty much on the other side of the room. They don't come over and get in your face or anything like that. But I guess it strikes you guys as you sort of mulling around in between casual banter and watching Ellis sort of be a quiet sort of moody guy, because I imagine Guy and Calloway are just bouncing off each other, and Ellis is just snickering, shaking his head most of the time.
By this point, I would have had some casual banter too. Mostly trying to like tell Guy about this wicked grav car that I worked on or something like that. Like totally talking shop, even if he can't be bothered. It's like all I want to talk about.
No, Guy would totally be like over the top. He would act more enthusiastic and interested than he actually would be.
And Ellis would have no idea. He'd be like, "Oh man, I'm so glad you're into this." Like going into full like schematic level detail. But yeah, now that these guys have showed up, I would withdraw into my shell quite a bit and be awkward.
Calloway just smiles and nods anytime a recordomatic flambulator is mentioned or an engine valve is talked about.
Nice.
All right, cool. Sweet. So you guys are getting through all of that, having a bit of a laugh. When it becomes kind of between those giggles and stuff, you're like thinking, hang on a sec, why? It's so rare that the three of you would be in the same room at the same time, let alone those three in the same room at the same time as you three. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone's usually posted on their different jobs and stuff like this. But to see them on Froth means they're either coming or going, and it's something weird. So yeah, I mean that epiphany kind of hits you all at some point in that 15 or 20 minutes after they enter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I smell a treasure hunt.
Is that you actually? Is that Guy saying that?
We'll say that's Guy.
Okay.
Pretty keen sense of smell you've got there, Guy.
Well, it's been well trained over years of trucking.
So what actually brings you guys here?
Us, or are you addressing us, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'd probably bring up my compad. I assume we'd receive this like digitally somehow, a digital summons to this place.
So yeah, Callaway specifically wants to confirm why these guys are here before he tells them why he's here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd pull out my compad and flick it out in front of you and say, "I got this. Didn't you?" And I've got like the email or the space memo that requested our presence at this time at this place. Under the assumption that's how we got it, Space Master.
Yeah, I'll just bring up my compad and show you the same email.
Yeah. And then I'd nudge Guy with my elbow and be like, "Did you get one?"
Oh yeah. I just I left the compad in the old battle jitney.
Yeah, because it's not unlike you two have just rocked up to make an entrance, so I just wanted to make sure.
I was going to imagine Guy would pull his out and it's like a scroll, and he like unfurls it.
All the screens, all the screens,
like gold leaf paper.
All the screens broken.
Yeah. No.
That'd be right. No, it'll be buried under like layers of gods know what.
Yeah.
In my truck, basically.
So what do you guys think this is all about?
I've been trying to figure it out all night. Would there be a sender on the summons, Space Master?
Yeah, the summons would have like almost like a digital wax seal of the colony, of the Colonial Council. And we came up a name. Did we name those guys? The Nova Terran Council.
Yep.
So it's pretty official. Most of your job postings and stuff come from job boards and whatnot. So it's kind of unusual to receive something straight from the council.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, well, we're supposed to do what the colony says, right? Nova Terran Council of official summons. I mean, it's weird, but I'm not one to be ignoring these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So
say government cover-up or eccentric billionaire. And again, I reiterate, treasure hunt.
I slowly slide the bottle away from Guy's direction.
You can take the alcohol out of Guy, but you can't take the guy out of Guy.
Fair enough.
Do you think the Brady Bunch over there got the same email?
One way to find out, and I gesture Callaway like over my shoulder with my head to go and talk to him.
I look at Guy as if to say, "You go talk to them."
I'll just like gull what I have left in my glass, pop my collar, take a deep breath, and stand up and saunter on over.
And Ellis hunches his shoulders even tighter, like trying to really close himself off from the conversation that's about to happen. Just awkwardly aware of what Guy's likely to do.
So it's probably taken you guys 10 minutes to have this chat or so, and in that time, a few people have left the bar, so it's even less busier than it was. It's probably getting pretty late. Most people have got shifts starting in 6 or 7 hours, so they're probably getting out of there. So yeah, you've got clear line of sight across the room, sort of thing. So Guy heads over. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm heading over.
What's your approach, stance, posture? Are you going to sing to them, or are you going to like scream at them, or? Sorry, I'm just.
No, I've tried to go for like a surly cowboy, which is ridiculous because he doesn't sound like he walks like a cowboy or any other time. He's just felt the need to sort of cowboy it up. That's his perception of his idea of appearing strong. So he saunters on over, clears his throat loudly, and announces, "Ladies, what are we doing tonight?"
So the woman just glares at you, just like and not even shakes her head, but just like looks vacuous at you, just like the whole. Just fuck you. and the two guys who were like talking and laughing about something stupid and patting each other on the back as if it was hilarious. They they just stop and like look up at you. Yeah. Powers. What is it of any of your concern anyway? Why don't you just scurry off back to the dark corner with your monkeys over there?
Well, come on now, fellas. Why can't we all get along? I'll tell you, I'll pull up a stool right next to the one on the outer edge and like put my arm around him. So like give him a bit of a tussle, if you will, and say, look, you guys here for this treasure hunt as well, or what's going on?
When you say treasure hunt, their eyebrows perk up a little bit, and they're like, "Ours. It strikes me as highly unusual that you would know something that I don't know. Treasure hunt. What are you talking about?"
Well, look, if you don't know, you don't know, and maybe we'll just leave it at that, and I'll start to wander off slowly back to my group.
Nice.
Are you doing that like pretend to leave but not really leaving thing, or are you actually leaving?
I'm pretending to leave, but I'm fully committed to actually leaving if they let me.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So that's a good little interaction. So swipe cut to 12 hours from now.
Okay.
And all right. Actually, do you? I know that James, you just nicked off for a quick break. Do you guys need a break?
I mean, it would be good. It would be a good place to put a quick interject in, or we can just keep. I'm easy either way.
Yeah, me too. Easy.
All right. Well, we'll just press on.
Cool.
So right. So the next bit. Yeah, so swipe cut to it's bright and sunny, and there is a large stone pyramid, and it's surrounded by jungle, and there is multiple sort of overgrown entrances into this pyramid. It's obviously very old and nothing that's been built recently. You know that there is some kind of artifact in there that you need to retrieve. And you have a limited amount of time. You know that there is a swarm of native animals of some sort that you are yet to have faced but have been warned about, that have been alerted to your presence. Now, the equipment you guys have on you is pretty much anything you think you need for this sort of event. Probably if you've got training in weapons, you've probably got your weapons. If you've got some whatever equipment that we rolled up with might not necessarily be what you've got on you at the moment. This is like if you whatever you think you need, you'll probably have with you at that point in time. So I'll be a bit flexible there. But Callaway looks at his. Did you have like someone had a watch or a wrist unit or something like that? Who had that?
I have a meta tool, which is a wrist-mounted like emergency toolkit.
Is it like a Pip-Boy?
No, I think it's more of a mechanical nature. I think it's like you make post-tech rolls with it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I think there's like some Android version 1.3 sort of OS in it that
I'm sure it's got some like basic UI
functionality.
interface. Yeah, so like maybe like version 0.1 Pip-Boy, like you can interface and do like basic touch typing with it or something.
Okay, cool. And sorry, how do we know? How did we get here, and how do we know to be here? Was this all in the information thing that we got on our compads?
Right. So let's play that you woke up, and these are just things that you know.
Okay. Right.
Let's play this.
Okay,
play
so can we do like right after this cut? Like the first thing that happens is Guy Powers going, so it's a heist.
That's great.
Callaway's leaning against the wall with his head in his hand, shaking slowly.
Think about it, guys. Think about it. They've gotten. We each have our expertise here. We're all valuable for whatever we got to do here. Ellis he's the mechanics man. He can get things working. Probably if there are doors, might be able to get them open. I don't know what he does. Callaway, he's a tough man. He's probably got weapons coming out of every hole. Me, I've got the winning attitude. And I'm a pilot, so there's that too.
And Ellis replies, "Yeah, I'm probably here for the doors." And then I stroll off as close as I dare to get to this pyramid thing, and just start like looking down the entrances and like just looking around the place. Just
would Callaway have his rifle or not?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would just be assembling my rifle.
Space cat.
It's the best cat.
I would just be assembling my space cat.
So,
As we
Your
all do
space
from
cat.
time to time.
Or Space Cat 0.50.
is it spoilery to ask? Would Ellis know whether he needs to like bring his toolkit, or like does he understand his purpose here? Because going inside a pyramid to take stuff is not really does not closely aligned to Ellis's skill set necessarily, or at least that's what he'd be thinking if he's summoned here without any deeper knowledge of his presence here.
Yeah, so you guys each would probably have, apart from Guy, he seems to be, his bravado sort of trumps any anxiety or concern about his current position.
Just
But
open the
it's
fucking
quite
doors,
fair.
it'll be fine.
It's quite fair that Ellis and potentially Callaway are kind of like curious as to like, wait, how do we get here? What? There is that sort of thing going on. Guys sort of like clutching the opportunity, by the balls, so to speak, and going, let's do this.
Yeah.
Which is
Any
very cool.
opportunity to perform. So guys probably just like, while the other guys are preparing, like legitimately, guys probably, because he hasn't got anything as far as I'm aware. Can't even shoot a gun. So he's probably just like walking around, like kicking the dirt, trying to look important, making it look like he's figuring stuff out, but he hasn't got a clue.
Yeah, so answer your question as well. Lugar, you're confident that you're here for a reason, and that you know that you've got the right kit for acquiring this artifact.
Okay.
And so you're not worried or anything so
Okay.
much. You're just kind of like, well, this is a bit weird, but I guess we'll just get this done and get out of here, and we can get back to that thing that we were doing.
Okay, so like they wouldn't have summoned us without reason. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm sure the council they've got their shit together, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So I would know my way around a lot of the colony. Can I roll some sort of check to see if I know where we are?
For sure. So I'll just, before you do, the last thing that I'll add here is each of you, I assume, would have some sort of digital device on you, whether it's a wrist thing or a phone thing or
Yeah.
something. They all beep simultaneously with a message tone, and you each sort of go, "Oh, what's that?" and pull it out and have a look, and it basically says, it's basically like a message from, I guess, headquarters or base or something like that, and it says, what are you doing just standing around? You're running out of time. ... Or like the cursor like flashes like in an old DOS prompt box or something like that.
Awesome.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I would like to just quickly roll to see if I know where we are, just based on the landscape.
So is that a culture world?
Yeah. Roll that now. Attribute wisdom
Intelligence.
or
I think.
intelligence. Yeah. Oh.
Drum roll. Ooh,
Ooh.
11.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like you say, you've been around Ether Prime a fair bit, and Froth 08M. You've spent a little bit of time on a few of the other systems. He says, having a sip of his frothy. No, you've definitely, and as your role is like a escort for the research teams and stuff like that, it's your job to know a lot. You're almost like a Bear Grylls-y kind of guy, right? So, like you said in the last session, you kind of Sam Neill meets Indiana Jones meets some sort of.
You must have like the sickest hat. Sorry.
He's got it.
Sorry.
His hat probably has more charisma than Guy Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm like a slightly shyer Sam Neill / the guy who tends to the raptors.
Right. Yeah. Robert Muldoon.
Clever girl.
Nice.
Love it. Right. So he's so you do have a fairly extensive knowledge of the various terrains and various places where the colony has set up. You do not recognize this place at all.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Well,
I say yeah.
Oh,
So
go on, sorry.
go on.
No, you
I
go.
was going to say I just turn to the other two guys and say, let's do this then.
Okay.
Right, fellas. Let's go.
What's the plan?
And I'll pull out the old 6-shooter that I keep unloaded because I can't shoot it. Twirl it, look down the barrel like I know what I'm doing, and spin the what do you call it? The thing, because it's a revolver.
Barrel. The
barrel, I guess. Yeah, he's got 2 barrels. You
know
know what
what?
I mean?
As you do that though, you notice that it's loaded.
What? But who loaded it?
What the? He's gone like full, like drugged out meta on us.
Is this a recreation of The Hangover?
Seeing the look in Guy's face, I check if there's still tranquilizers in the cartridge of my rifle.
So I'm like holding up the gun and I glance sideways at the other guys, like with genuine concern, and they're like pulled together and just like put it back and like, no, nothing, it's all good, nothing's wrong.
I like it because they would both know that you just never have it loaded. And so when they look at you and they hear it, like it's heavy, like you can hear all of the parts moving heavy, like
with weight, yeah.
And you're just like, and then like, I love it. This is great. Okay, so you're arming up. Both of you guys are sort of on the ready for action. Ellis, what's your gonna attempt something here as well?
Well, Ellis's skill set doesn't really lend itself to location or scouting or that kind of thing.
Well, that said, you've got perception.
I could roll just a general perception check. Maybe, I guess if we're heading in there, Ellis would be pretty wary of going in there. Like, maybe he was expecting company or, like, some official representative from the Nova Terran Council. So he's, like, kind of trepidatious about just going in on the instruction of a text. So maybe a perception check to, like, the entrance we're going to take inside the pyramid, like, just to get a cursory idea of what we could be dealing with, or if it's dark and I need a torch or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't need to roll for that stuff because you're not telling me that you're looking for anything. Again, challenging. It's like it's dark in this tunnel. Definitely, okay. It's dark in this tunnel. And it doesn't look like anything official. It doesn't look like anything colonial. You've worked on a few bases and a few points where there's, colonial buildings and stuff like this. It just doesn't look like... It looks like, for some reason, you guys have just... you would have gone to a bed the night before, and for whatever reason, you guys have all just woken up at the same time here in front of this pyramid, somehow knowing that this is what you need to be doing.
I mean, the only other thing I
So it's a
could
bit weird.
possibly roll is like culture world. Like maybe if there's some sort of historical text I might have come across or like heard a story of something or location like this and what we might be possibly retrieving, for example. Anything along those lines?
So culture world, like if we should update that in your character sheets. It actually should be this skill should be culture ether prime.
Oh, okay. So it's
Because
not
this is
relevant
what-
to this location
Um,
because we're on Froth.
well, you don't know where you are.
Oh,
This,
okay.
Like, I mean, to be fair, well, actually,
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
if we get, let's get a little meta here for a second, just as an example for some RPG stuff. Ellis and Guy, like Guy's just gung ho, let's go for it. Ellis is kind of like got a lot of questions and trying to suss this out. He doesn't like being in this something's not right sort of scenario. Callaway's thought to himself, do I know this place? No, I don't know this place. But he hasn't said anything to the other guys. So if you think back to Swan Song or some of those other games, when you do roll for perception and you do get some knowledge that is in your head,
Oh, yeah.
you need to make it explicit if you want to share that stuff.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, I would turn to the other guys and say, look, I know Ether Prime like the back of my hand, and I don't recognize this place.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, just spitballing here. Considering, running on the theme of culture here, considering that these other two guys don't recognize it, could I somehow use culture spacer to maybe glean some sort of knowledge of, hey, there's a pyramid here, maybe I know about it being somewhere else in the universe? I don't know.
Perfect. Roll.
Cool. I know what's up. Intelligence, right?
Yeah.
You guys are lucky my intelligence is 14.
Hot damn.
Noah's nothing going on? Assisted?
No, I imagine.
Oh, sorry. No.
No. Okay, cool.
Ooh, man, it was
That
good
was-
rolls to start. 9.
Cool. So it's probably worth explaining to anyone who doesn't know the Stars Without Number system. Target number is, was it 8?
7
Yeah.
is minimum success.
Minimum success. And basically the way I like to play it is the higher you roll, the more cool the success is. It's not just on or off. Yeah. So a 9's a couple over. That's all right, but it's not up in the top reaches. Now, when you said you had intelligence 14,
Yeah.
does that give you a +1?
It does give me a +1, yeah.
It doesn't turn up as a +1 on your roll
That's
if you
interesting.
hover over it.
Yeah. It should have
That's
been a
weird.
+1. Should have been a +1.
Yep.
Did you use the button
Sorry.
on your character sheet, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit interesting.
Yeah, I went to... Yeah, I used the button on Culture Spacer.
Okay, and you have a 0 in culture spacer. I would have done +1 -1 then. So yeah, it didn't +1 that. So I guess it's a 10. Anyway,
I don't know.
Yeah? Okay.
it's a decent pass in either event.
Yeah.
So you hearing Callaway and Ellis sort of discussing talking about this isn't a place that they recognize. This isn't. We're not on it. We're not in Kansas anymore. Not on Ether anymore. Guy, you do recognize you recall a story you've heard from some. Let me have a quick think. From some researchers, maybe another research unit that's not Callaway's unit. And you've heard of them talking about some mythical example of ancient civilizations that once roamed this system, and it's kind of quiet, hush hush. We're the first civilization here. There's we're here to make our mark, and there's you'll recall there's some I guess some hypotheses that are floating around that we're not actually the first civilization to have been in this system. But
So, hang on. Am I allowed to know whether it's... Are we talking like previous human colonists or aliens?
No, it would definitely be not humans.
Okay. Okay. And is that a very strange concept, non-humans, to these colonists?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I think. Okay, because I've got to try and weave the Stars Without Number canon back in here a little bit.
Yep.
So I think before the jump gates and the scream and everything died, and all of that sort of wormhole technology sort of went kaput. There was definitely knowledge of other alien races and other alien species and stuff, the sentient aliens, and so it's not highly prevalent, but there might be like one or two other humanoid forms that have existed and that made contact with humanity in those earlier days of exploration. Whether or not they were peaceful or at war or whatever, like that's not an answer for now. That's not a question for now. So the concept that other life does exist is not. I guess it's a known possibility, but at the moment, as far as everyone knows in this system, in this colony, you guys are the only ones here.
Okay. So I'll pipe up and say, gentlemen, and pause, waiting for full attention because that's Guy Power's way. What do you know of the previous inhabitants of this system?
No, Ellis shrugs
just say-
casually, having no idea really. Previous inhabitants?
Well, dang,
I'll
'cause
just-
I don't know much more myself, but I'm pretty sure that that's what this pyramid's all about.
Yeah, I've still got my head in my hand. I say, you don't mean the animals, do you?
No, I'm not talking about the animals.
You mean sentient? A sentient race?
I'm talking about aliens.
You do the thing. Meme thing.
I look over to Callaway and I do like that arm gesture, like half shrugging, like what? Or just showing clear confusion, like what is this guy on about?
Why do you
I say, I turn to him and say, sorry, my hat's made of cloth, not tinfoil.
Guys, catch on to this. The old codgers of the colony speak of strange things. I don't know.
Ellis kind of looking a bit exasperated, is just kind of, well, we've only got one direction to go, really, and a gesture towards the pyramid, like, this is why they sent us.
Yeah, I would turn to Guy and say, what I really want to know is why my tranquilizer has been replaced with bullets and why your gun's now loaded for the first time in 20 years.
I just, with an appearance of confidence, but the opposite is the case, waltz up between them ahead as if, to lead the way and say, well, come on, gentlemen.
I follow
Let's get
behind.
going.
Ellis also follows.
I'm telling you.
But before going
Aliens.
in, I look over my shoulders. Have we even left like any sort of vehicle to leave this place, or are we just completely, it's just us and a pyramid?
So there's a really small shuttle ship, about maybe 100, 200 meters behind you in a clearing, and yeah, it's loading. Its gangplank is down, sort of thing, and
Okay, sure. Well, Ellis just makes a mental note of its location, like relative to our entrance, and yeah, then with one final look, follows the guys.
all right. So you guys walk into this large tunnel that's right in front of you, and it's dark very quickly. Can't see more than a foot in front of you. Basically, it's pretty much pitch black. You make it about 10 feet or 10 meters in, and you start to hear dripping noises, and there's like it's very still, cold air.
Okay.
Did anyone bring a torch?
Well, yeah, I was thinking either my toolkit or meta tools surely would have some sort of light source. I would imagine, even if a fairly weak
Come
one.
on, a future compad / smartphone has got to have a built-in torch.
I don't know so.
I
Quite
downloaded a
possible.
torch app for my compad.
As soon as you walk into the pyramid, you lose all signal.
Okay, I turned the compad screen brightness all the way up and use that as a torch.
And keep touching the screen every once in a while.
Yeah. It would make sense that Ellis has what he would need to quickly jury rig a some sort of torch in his kit of all of his little loose bits and pieces of.
Or is it conceivable that the only thing that Guy Powers was prepared with was a torch? Because he's
I was
kind
going
of
to say, let's get Ellis to roll a jury rigging tech post tech roll and see what happens. If he can,
Intelligence.
I guess because he would. Actually, that's a good question.
Well, don't let it be intelligence. It's terrible.
intelligence.
Or wisdom. Either or.
Oh wow, it is terrible. Yeah, I guess if you wanted to try and jury rig a torch together, man, definitely give it a crack, because you'd still be at the entrance where it's not completely dark yet. The other two have just walked into the darkness ahead of you.
Yeah, I wouldn't go like headlong in if it was like completely dark. I would try have something, like tying a. Oh yeah, not bad. So yeah, I'd probably have like a battery that's still like 3/4 juiced and a couple of wires, and you have a bit of duct tape. Maybe like the tail light from a grav vehicle, something like that. So maybe some PVC. Yeah, slap it together.
Yeah, a bit of spit. You could someone's chewing gum. Just grab that.
Yeah, but it's like really crude. Like the only way I could turn it off is by like snipping a wire, sort of thing. But it would do the job. It's PVC and a tail light sticking out the top.
I love it.
Right. So it's that's a very cool description. It's I'm just looking at your roll actually. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the sheets are buggered up, but
I'm just wondering, are we meant to put in our, like, if we've got a +1 bonus thing to a stat or something, are we meant to put that in manually?
I think it's meant to figure that out by itself, but I'm just hovering over the result, and you've got 2 +1s.
Yeah. Well, I do have my tech post tech is at a 1, so that should be a +1. Rolling 2d6 +1. Yeah, that's really balked. It's rolling a lot of extra dice.
And look at Callaway's first roll.
Whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa, holy Christ.
Oh, shit.
So it was 1 + 6 +1 +1. Okay, so I'm happy to say I only rolled a 7 or 8, I suppose.
I think what we should do is stop rolling from the character sheets.
For tonight we'll stop rolling from the sheets.
Yep.
So
My roll's pretty fucked.
I don't know. Did that come up on the stream for the other guys to see what's happening?
Not entirely, but basically chat or YouTubers. One of these rolls has got like absurd arithmetic amongst it, and it's definitely broken something.
You should be able to hover over, like if Kluger hovers over it, they should see it, right?
But it's not entirely.
My roll's like the.
It's not entirely in the.
My roll's
overlay.
like the blackboard from Good Will Hunting.
No, I can't. I can't get it completely on screen. But there's a lot of decimal places and that sort of thing. But yeah, yeah. I mean, after this, we should just roll. Roll from
I think Callaway's first roll of 11, I think, has actually got Hawking radiation built into it.
I think you're right. It's got theoretical Star Trek Thaleron radiation.
There's something going on, man.
I'll let the 9 slide for now, but yeah, from now on, manual rolls, please, guys. So yeah, you jury rig this torch, and it's pretty limited, but it probably casts about, I don't know what makes sense, probably about 30 feet worth of low light.
Yeah.
in front, and you can see that there's a number of passages off to the left and to the right, and there's some like vines somehow sort of that have grown in from the mouth of this entrance through. Right, so you guys proceed. Let's roll a d20 and see what happens next. Okay, so you guys pretty much proceed through towards the center of, like you're making your way down this main path, and it's a bit of a maze. You guys make your way around a few places, find a few dead ends. There's a few empty rooms. It's pretty much deserted though. You make your, you guys are pretty clever. You're not going to get lost at this point in time. You at some point along that sort of the first half an hour of sort of just digging through this pyramid, you each get that message tone come through again, and it goes beep beep beep, and you guys load up your devices, and you can see that there's a map has been downloaded into your rig, and there's like a flashing red beacon on the map, and you can see, oh yeah, that's the spot we got to go. You got to go up a few flights of stairs here and there, and it takes you about an hour or two, and you finally get to this sort of central room, and you're standing at the doorway of this room, and it's quite large. You guys are probably like, I don't know, 12 to 15 flights up now, so you're up somewhere up the top of this pyramid. And there's this massive room filled with a huge number of like there's heaps of debris, rock and strewn debris. There's like a few shafts of light that have come through some cracks in the ceiling somewhere. It's like really dusty. The air is a lot warmer than it was down below, and there's this massive stone kind of obelisk in the middle, and around it is a number of different geometrical shaped crystalline pieces. So some things that look like quartz, some things that look like hematite, or all of these different sorts of a variety of crystals sort of surrounding this obelisk.
Heavy.
And
So
the resolution of your map isn't high enough for you to be able to pinpoint exactly what it is in this room that you're looking for, but you know that you've made it to this room.
So yeah, Callaway would straight away kind of head over to the crystals on the floor and kind of hunch down on his feet, and start kind of rubbing some of the finer bits of crystal like between his fingers, try and see what there is.
Cool. So if you want to roll a science, you're right. Roll a science.
Okay. So that's intelligence.
Yeah.
And I've got I'm a +2. So is it just roll?
Yes, or /R.
So, or /R.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. /2, 6.
Plus bonuses. Oh my god. 11.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yes, on.
Sweet. So, yeah, you recognize, not on a academic level, but you recognize the scene as being clearly a collection of expensive and rare crystals and whatnot. So there's just such a huge variety across the floor. There's the dust that you've picked up and checked between your fingers is actually like some form of stone or limestone, potentially from the ceiling, where there's decaying, crumbling ceiling.
So recognizing the value of these crystals, I grab a handful of them and deposit it in my pocket.
So there are some that are the size of like watermelons. There are some the size of like small cars. So
Yeah.
this like it's not actually just
Oh,
like
okay.
apple, but there are a
Right.
couple of I guess crumbs
Yeah,
that have crumbled off.
I just grab a few small pieces of crystal and put them in my pocket.
Sure.
Cool. Well, Ellis is kind of just perusing the room. He probably hasn't, like, he's just shining his torch on all the surfaces through the crystal things, and just looking for any sign of, I suppose, the technology that we're dealing with. I don't suppose there would be any sign of post-technology in this pyramid at all. Ellis is just simply trying to ascertain whether there's any recognizable technology here, or if it's potentially pre-tech, like before the Scream kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's clear that there's no post-tech in the room. Yeah, it's pretty much like, you might have in your primary school sort of ages sort of thing, or high school sort of thing, you might have done a bit of learning about the history on Earth, and you might recall some of the Egyptian stuff and the Mayan things as ancient human history sort of stuff, and it just reminds you a lot of that.
Sure.
Maybe it was some sort of storeroom, as far as you can tell, from your mechanical mind point of view. It almost looks like this is where I'd store all my parts. It's almost like a garage for some sort of...
A grav tank would fit perfect,
I guess,
in here.
But there is that sort of sense of, oh yeah, look, there seems to be a collection of different things here for some reason. It kind of reminds you of maybe your garage, which has heaps of different parts and heaps of different tools.
Sure. Well, Ellis is then seeing no obvious purpose for their being here. So, would it be possible to text back this anonymous number that's texting us? Would it be possible? Or could I try and say, like, what are we here for? And just send that back and see if it goes through?
What's your exact text going to be?
It'll be
you can do that.
What are we here for? ... And try to send that, hoping it's not like an anonymous or unlisted number or something like that.
No, you're able to hit reply on that and get back to them. And okay, so that gets sent off, and there's no immediate response. But I guess you continue sort of looking around, shining your torch into the various crystals, which then create a whole bunch of reflective, colors and patterns, and maybe some flecks of rainbow and weird shadows across the room.
Yeah, and then I'd realise my slight self-centeredness at that point, and probably wander back over to either Callaway or Guy, whoever needs light, and realising I have the only torch. So if anyone's looking like they're squinting at a thing, I'll go and shine some light on the subject.
So walking next to Ellis for a little bit, Guy'll say, taking bets for who gets dragged off by an alien first. And then I'll just glance at Ellis and kind of step away from him for a moment.
I just whip around the torch to shine it in his eyes, like just right in his face, so he's squinting, and I just keep looking at whatever.
Can I ask if there are any markings on any surfaces, walls, the obelisk, anything at all?
Roll for perception.
Roll for perception.
Roll for perception. All right, where's that? All right, I got to do this manually, right?
Yep.
Perception ain't so good. So how do I do this? /R.
Yeah, /R 2d6 plus
2d6
plus perception modifier. What's that?
So -1.
Yep. And then would it be wisdom, Ashby, or?
Yeah, wisdom is a perception.
Yeah. So then -1 plus whatever your wisdom modifier is.
Plus 14, baby. And that's all just like one word, equation.
14 would be +1. So you can just roll 2d6 because it's -1 plus 1. So just roll /2d6.
Oh, of course, sorry.
Yeah.
Done.
And...
Oh my god! Natural 12. We haven't failed a single roll yet.
Yeah, making my life.
Mine was along with some kind of like facial anomaly.
We'll take it though.
Your role is what got us into this mess.
So just tell us everything, Ash.
Yeah, right. So, and what was it? You were looking around for markings and...
I'm looking for marking. Can I reveal my reasoning here?
Well, yep. Do it.
I know a bit about navigation, and that's specifically what I'm looking for. But if there are any markings at all, I want to know about them.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm looking for any markings, but with a particular eye for navigation.
Okay, so are you going to just, Ellis is sort of fumbling around with his torch and he's pointing it in various directions. Are you going to just try and do it in this low light? Or, like, how are you coordinating that with him?
I feel like I'm probably nearby, but if I see something or see something that I think is something, if that makes sense, I'll like grab his hand and point the torch at what I want.
I won't resist. Ellis he feels like he's used his what's the right word? He's exhausted his own helpfulness here, other than the torch. So do whatever you want with it.
Okay, so Ellis is spun around and shining the light at you on your quip about your bet of first, who's going to be the first to be dragged away by aliens. So Ellis is seemingly a little jumpy at the moment. Not appreciating that joke at all, by the looks of it. And yeah, as he spins around really quickly, you notice there was a couple of glints of like reflection of maybe some sort of shiny surface or something shiny from a few different points in the ceiling.
Okay.
As he spun around, like he's maybe gone over his shoulder like that, and like the light cast across the ceiling, and so yeah, you notice a few shiny things up there. But as he's landed on your eyes, you've can't quite tell if it was just the impact of being blinded momentarily by this PVC headlight thing that he's concocted. But it felt like as the light moved away from wherever it was on the wall as it came towards you, the shadows seemed to have rippled or shimmered or kind of like did this weird thing. So as you're kind of like blinded, and then you grab his wrist and you shine it back up at those things that you saw on the roof, you notice that there because you did say you were going to do that, so you notice that there are a couple of what seem to be either metallic or again some form of crystalline hooks in the ceiling. Number of hooks, and it's a fairly tall ceiling, and still sort of because you're probably somewhere near the top of this pyramid, so it's not just a box room. It's like the walls are slanted like that, and so it gets progressively higher in the middle above this obelisk and all of this sort of stuff. Obelisk being in the center of the room, and so kind of around the room at various heights are these little glints of little hooks out of the ceiling. You also notice that there are some scratch marks. Look, you rolled a 12. I've got to give you something. There are like some scratch marks or like some scrapings and stuff, like a little patch of them, like a little flurry of something here and there, which don't look natural.
Okay.
So you've seen a few things. And these guys had just noticed you grab Ellis's wrist and point it at the roof and look around at stuff.
So these scratches, just so I understand what you're talking about, do they look like something or someone has scratched the walls, or do they look like they're some form of text maybe?
You're too far away. At the moment you're in reaction mode, so you've just sort of seen this stuff you've noticed there are a few things to probably investigate closer.
Yeah.
So I would turn to the other guys and say we Look, it's got to be something that we can carry out of here. So it's not going to be any of these gigantic crystals. Like what looks like? What around here looks to you guys like something we would be sent here for?
Gentlemen, what are those?
I swing the torch around to the direction guy's pointing in.
Pointing at the, let's say the hooks to begin with.
Okay, yeah, so I flick the torchlight up and kind of glare up in the same direction as such, and await remark. Or I guess, what do we see? Like when we shine the torchlight directly on there.
Can I roll perception to see if I see the scratches?
Okay, so that's over meta, so you wouldn't know that the scratches are there yet. But I guess
I'll happily interject, and like after a second of perusing the hooks, I'll say, and there are some scratches on the walls. I'm not going to hold anything back here.
Yeah, again, torchlight whips around.
Especially if I want credit for it.
Yeah.
What, I would bolt my rifle immediately.
Well, Ellis will walk up to them. He'll take the torchlight and go as close as possible, like up to the wall, basically, and get as close of a look as physically possible. Sorry.
So guys asked about the roof first, and then secondly landed on the scratches, which I guess is the more imminent issue, or this sort of internal damage that doesn't look like it's natural decay or whatever of the rest of the room is obviously in. So you walk up to this spot, and the stone, like these big chunks of stone that the walls are made out of, it's almost like there's a concave. I think that's the right one.
Yeah,
because it's a cave.
Yeah,
it's the one that like eats into the wall, so it's like a stone that's been like scratched out and very crudely hollowed out or something like that.
Okay, so it's like a further, an unnatural concave shape. It's not like scratch marks. It's like, is that right?
It is. It's made up of a bunch of, like I said, it's like a patch of scratch marks that's scratched the stone away, and where it's like the stone has been scratched away, there are some like, it's almost like if the stone had air bubbles in it.
Okay.
So there were a couple of little cavities that are exposed because of this whatever is scratched away at this stone.
All right. Well, Ellis would probably like gently run his fingers through this sort of this opening, I suppose, that's been made, trying to ascertain whether this is like machinery, like if this is a function of something mechanical, or if it's like an unevenly done sort of thing. Would that be some sort of perceptionary check, just to try and get a feel for whether it's like super smooth or obviously crude?
It's not a check because you know machines inside out. You can tell that it's not machinery.
Okay.
Yeah, I would check for any dust or residue on the floor.
Yeah, there's a pile of dust and like crumbled stone in like maybe like a 1.5 2 meter radius.
Okay. Yeah, so I want to I'd like smell it to see if I recognize anything else apart from the stone.
But
I'm again crouched down, smelling the dirt on the floor.
Yes, Mr. Muldoon. So we can touch these, right? They're within our reach.
They're about
We've moved over.
They're about chest height.
Okay. So Guy tries running his whole hand down them, specifically looking for, like, under the assumption that it's claw marks, for example, testing the size of the hand compared to his own.
Okay, so there's a few actions queued up here. So Callaway's sniffing this the dirt.
Yeah. So a science roll.
Yep. What does your science cover? Like everything?
I've got the
My
character
science
sheet.
is it's just science 1.
The skill itself, the character is a trained scientist and capable of operating laboratory equipment, conducting research and developing new tech. The skill covers all conventional scientific applications, but actually building or repairing objects requires tech skill.
Yeah, so as part of research, I can identify things, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'd say, like, without trying to game it and like get the one up, it does sound like the most applicable skill.
So, yeah, 2d6 plus 2.
Easy.
What's the +2 again? +1 is.
So I've got a
skill,
+1
is-
to int and then a +1 to science.
Dang.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a 6. Any listeners?
Right. You detect some strange sense that you wouldn't normally associate with just stone. It's almost like a rankness, but not
Yeah.
quite. It's kind of like, oh, what? But you
yeah.
way can't put your finger on it.
Yeah, I kind of
See
immediately
anything.
throw what's in my hand on the floor and stand up. I say something's not right to the other guys.
Seems dank.
And so as Guy
nod, yeah.
puts his hand, hang on, there's another action here. So Guy's other action here is to like put his hand up against the wall and run his hand across the flurry of activity, and the pattern of the scratches, your hand definitely overshadows, per se, I guess, is that the right word, the size of these flurries of scratches. So whatever made this was smaller than your hand.
Okay. Well, don't worry, gentlemen. This is just a bite-sized little fella. Made these, so when we run into the aliens, we should be fine.
When you as you're saying that, like, you haven't taken your hand off yet, but one of your fingers sort of like goes across one of these openings, like I said, it kind of like, you know, those Aero chocolate bars
Yeah.
are full of those bubbles. So there's like maybe 3 or 4 of these deep in this rock that are exposed, that sort of go open into like these little round cavities, and your finger goes across one, and as you do, you kind of hook your finger into it a little bit and pull at it, and some of the rock crumbles away, and you can see a lot clearly into the first of these little cavities. Is a almost like some sort of mushy paper or something, some sort of organic matter
You touched
at the
poop.
bottom of this little cavity. And yeah, so roll. Roll. Do we have luck? Is luck in here?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
luck. There's a luck
Yeah, there's a
save.
luck
Save.
save.
Yeah.
Yeah, roll a luck save.
So
Can
you
I
gotta
press the
beat?
button?
yeah, that's just D20, so the button should work.
What's
Okay.
your luck? What's your luck status?
It's-
Oh, it's a fail.
Yeah.
All right. So as you pull a bit of the stone away, and you expose this bit of organic matter, a witchetty grub style worm thing latches onto your finger
Oh.
and
Alright.
and, and sinks its little teeth into your finger.
Okay. So, son of a, what's your name? Callaway. You're the animal guy. Do a thing. It's got me.
Yeah, I'll without removing it from his finger, I'll kind of circle around it and look to try and see if I know what it is.
You don't recognize it, but it's clearly it's probably about the size of his finger, and it's like latched onto his it's kind of hanging off here, sort of thing. Like it's kind of like
I'll just
starting to burrow into his finger, and so I'll get Guy to roll a physical save.
In the meantime,
All right.
Ellis will try help by presumably in my meta tool I will have some kind of sharp thing. Like, some kind of like miniature, like I'm imagining a Swiss Army knife, like the scissors component or the saw component, or something to that effect. Maybe some like laser cutter or something of that nature. So, but how long? So as long as his finger is it like dangling off his finger, sort of thing?
It's off the side, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of wriggling. It's like a leech of some sort.
Okay. So I would try to like kind of come up to Guy and like kind of grab over his shoulder and like pin his arm under my arm, if that makes sense. Like try and keep it completely still and see how still Guy and this worm is. Like basically I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to end up cutting off Guy's finger by accident.
So
as Alice is doing this, I'm removing my knife from my boot.
Ah, cool. Well then, as I see that, I see no need to open my meta tool.
Okay, so how much pain are you in, Guy?
Look, I don't know what this thing is. You probably know better than me. I dare say,
but I'll tell you. I'll tell you on a scale of like on a scale of that's a pretty. You've sliced your finger open cooking, and you were chopping up lemons at the time. On a scale of that to like you ever been bitten by a green ant? Or some sort of ant that has...
I've been bitten by
that lingers.
Like a bull ant, but like the warrior caste of the bull ant, the big ones. I've been bitten by one of them. With the pincers you can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's something like that that's starting to kick in.
Okay, but I still feel like my shock and perceived pain is still greater than the actual pain.
Okay, so how are you reacting to this little critter latching
I'm
onto
just
you?
yelling, cut it off, not my finger, cut it off.
Yeah, so seeing this happen, I'll since I've crouched down to grab my knife, I'll bring it up in one motion and try to cut this thing from Guy's finger.
And I just whisper, stay.
Right.
And I've got Guy by the arm, and so I'm like right up next to his ear, and I just say, stay the fuck still.
Okay. Combat primitive.
Yeah.
Oh, can you give him like a +3 just to make it unlikely that he loses his finger
Dex
in
for this?
episode 1?
Yeah, Dex.
Bro, hang on, can I ask, before we do this, which finger is it?
Consent.
I would say index, surely.
I would say it's your index.
Which hand?
Probably your right hand if that's your main hand.
Damn it, fine. Alright, I'm never going to learn to use a gun. Go on.
Oh, get wrecked, worm.
Fucking worm.
So with a very deft and precise movement, almost like you would use a knife to shave, yourself. He's,
Perfect
scraped
shot.
and sliced. Perfect shot right down. So yeah, the worm thing has effectively had its head or pincers or something sliced, and is now on the floor, just wriggling around like in the looking like it doesn't know what it should be doing. It's got its head cut off. You look at your finger, and there's like a ring, like its mouth, still embedded in your finger. But what you all notice is this stench coming from this where this critter is being cut, and it's really potent, and it's fucking rank.
Right. Well, cradling my finger, and I imagine trying to pull out whatever's stuck, with my other hand, sweat dripping down my face, and clearly in shock, but just starting to realize what's happened. Guy says, "Well, gents, looks like I lost the bet."
I'll snigger and wipe my knife on like the front of my pants, put it back in my boot.
Ellis is covering his mouth, and he's trying to like kind of kick the remains of the worm amongst the rubble and dust, and like maybe vainly try to smother some of the stink.
All right, everyone roll a physical save, and if you fail, you
Die a horrible death.
effectively vomit because of the stench.
Man, I never vomit.
Oh,
I told you I never vomit.
Classic.
This is like what's his name from the first Nova vomiting inside his space helmet.
Frank.
Yeah, classic.
Right, so the stench is pretty overpowering, and Calloway and Guy stumble away. Ellis is standing there with his light sort of pointing at the wall and this critter on the floor, and these guys are stumbling across the floor, and you can just hear them starting to retch and vomit.
I whisper pansies like under my breath, like just quietly.
Awesome. Whilst they're, reacting to this stench, are you going to stay nearby, Ellis, or are you going to move? Or
No, I'm probably like slow. I'm like walking backwards away from that location, that mark on the wall, and I'm checking my compad for any reply from whatever the fuck is texting us right now, or telling us where to go.
Right. So you get, all right, so there's been a reply during the last couple of minutes. I'm not sure when it came through, potentially when Guy was sort of screaming and writhing and you were having to pin him down. But yeah, there's an unread message, and it's effectively like a blueprint style sketch of almost like a sort of a star-shaped stone, intricately carved or intricately machined, or somehow it's got some, it's very unmistakable.
Sure.
It's almost like if you took a sphere and then a whole bunch of cone sort of shaped intrusions off it, sort of things. Probably about the size of a futsal ball.
Yep. All right. Cool.
A small soccer ball or something.
So I gesture over to the guys, or call them, and just give them my compad. Pardon me, and I'll say, we're looking for this, and then we'll just immediately start.
They're out of it for about a turn.
Okay, sure.
Speaking.
Well, then I will just, if they don't react to my summons, I'll just start looking for it myself. I would probably wander to the center of the room first, like towards that obelisk, assuming if this is some sort of item of significance, it's probably going to be somewhere there. So, I'd be sort of like looking around the base of the obelisk, looking up and down for anything I can push or pull or prod, or even shining my torch back up to... okay, cool. Oh yeah, I can't do that, so 0 and perception with wisdom.
Roll for perception.
Yes, wisdom.
10.
Nice. So as you make your way to the obelisk, it's kind of hard to make it to the actual base of this obelisk.
Okay.
As you get closer to it, you notice that there are really, really faded etchings in the side of it. Potentially some sort of script, some sort of language. Potentially, it's kind of a bit random. It could just be artistic. You have no way of knowing. And there are, because you've stepped up right close to sort of have a look at it, but there are some of these larger crystals, like I said, the size of cars and watermelons and all of these sort of round and oval sort of almost shaped crystals littering the floor. You sort of make your way through, and the obelisk is fairly tall, probably about 20 feet tall, and it is probably about I don't know, maybe 3 feet wide at the base, and it gets narrower at the top, of course. And you're sort of like casting your torch up and down it, like I said, you can see that stuff. But at the base is it's kind of on a sitting on a dome, or like a half sphere, like that's the base. So you might think of a human obelisk or whatever is on just a concrete slab or something like that.
Sure.
Well, this is on a very perfectly shaped dome piece of limestone or whatever. It matches the stone that the pyramid's made out of. And as you're sort of looking at things, and the guys start they're vomiting and hurling and stuff, so they start.
So this is a real like Exorcist pea soup sort of vomit.
Oh, it's probably like a lot of gagging and you know, bile sort of spit. It's not like it's not like full projectile, but you guys are just like retching.
So it's a bit more dignified. That's good.
It's not creating a huge mess, but there's a lot of all that stuff. Pretty noisy, but as you guys sort of get a handle on it, and Ellis is sort of checking out this obelisk up close, Ellis hears, so you guys don't get meta. Ellis hears is some noises coming from the tunnel that you guys entered the room. Kind of like, almost like, how would you describe it? It's almost like the scattering of rodents or something like that.
Okay.
And it's sort of this echoing noise.
Shit. Well, Ellis's first reaction is to place the torch face down, so like trying to obscure the light. So basically to try to give us cover. So like if there's something nearby, or even on the floor amongst some sand, like just sticking it face down. He doesn't want to break the torch, but just obscure the light. And so I saw nothing further like that was matching the schematic, like prior to hiding the light. Nothing that looked like what I was sent.
I guess what's in your character sheet? I should just bring it up real quick. Intelligence is -1. Wisdom is 1.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just talking like a picture-to-picture match, though. Like, you know, a game of
no, there's nothing
cards.
picture-to-picture match.
Okay.
But in terms of size, I guess there are a lot of things around that are bigger than that.
Okay. And Callaway and Guy are still dry reaching.
They've finished it.
All right, cool.
They're like wiping their mouths and standing back up and
Awesome.
walking over to you because you've got the light.
Okay.
But yeah, so of all of these sort of larger crystals that have that are lying around, and like they're broken pieces and crumbs of it are just sort of lying around each one of them, like they've deteriorated somehow or have had some sort of impact or whatever, so they're sort of broken. There might be like one car-shaped one that's sort of like plunked in half, like a clean break or something like that through the middle of it. There's some powdery stuff. So the scale of the thing in the blueprint, it's almost like if it was in a container, it could be in fucking anything in this room almost.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's going to be hard to look for something like that's this big in a room full of stuff that's this big.
Yep. Cool. Well, yeah, I would definitely like close the distance between myself and Callaway and Guy, make my way over to their location, or summon them to a central point, and I would show them the image as well, just to see if there's anything that they can make of it. Because Ellis is being very pragmatic about it and is like, can't match this image one-to-one with anything he sees. So yeah, brings it across and just like flips over the comp pad to say like, here, HQ sent me this. What do you think? Kind of thing.
And what was it? Some sort of star shape? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So it's like
How many points?
like 80.
Oh shit! Oh, okay.
It's like a ball that's got
Yeah.
heaps of points on it.
Hmm. Can I roll my my spacer culture again to see if that was, if anything matching that description was part of the legends that I've heard?
Sure, but it'll be a -1 because it's so specific.
Right. So what am I rolling here? 2d6 again, -1.
Yeah, and whatever your intelligence mod is.
Oh, okay. So it'll just be 2d6 because that's a +1.
Cool. Ooh.
So yeah, no. Clearly, it looks like an artifact of some kind, but whether or not it has anything to do with this culture or this civilization, you've got no idea.
Okay.
All right. And now also,
Can I maybe just jump in there then and add a bit of flavor?
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe just poke you in the ribs a little bit, actually, Guy. Thinking about the sorts of things that you would have transported back on Ether Prime. Some of the things that might not be going on the manifest. You know what I mean? You probably have a bit of a sense of how to stash stuff, right?
Oh, okay. Right.
I don't know. I'll just plant that seed as a thought that came to me on a story level. But anyway,
okay.
have a think if you can use that.
And I would just also briefly say, like, I would just like make this kind of motion to make sure Guy and Callaway are both not saying a damn thing, and I'll just go, "Can you hear that?" And look at them both, and being like not even breathing. I'm that quiet. And would they hear it?
Right.
Hear what? Speak up.
Really?
Me? Yeah. I'll shout it out.
I like shove Guy like directly in the chest, like straight in the solar plexus, like, "Ugh," and like just seriously.
All right. So as
I raise
guys-
my rifle. It's like in a cocked position. I'm not quite looking down the scope, but it's ready to go.
Do they
Guy's
hear it? It's
reeling
not just me.
Well, all right. So as Guy's reeling from the "hear what? Speak up," like bravado again kicking in over the top of sensibilities, and there's like almost like a little snort laugh and whimper as you've thudded him, and he's smiling, but his smile sort of slowly drops as there is a sound of sound coming from the tunnel that you guys entered the room from, and it's Ellis, you'll notice now that it's slightly louder, and there's also as you guys are sort of like trying to focus in on this, what is this weird like scratching or scraping, or like it's almost like that archetypal scene where you look down at the ground and the rocks are bouncing on the ground. Do you know, like what's it?
Like the water ripples in
Jurassic
Park.
Park.
Kind of. I was going to say the Lion King, where I mean, it's like it's not because there is a stampede coming, but it's the sound of the rocks jittering on the ground.
Sure.
As if a stampede was coming.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like a stampede's coming. But there's this noise of like kind of all weird, and just as like there's this moment of like flicker of recognition of like, oh yeah, we can all hear it, and you kind of like glance at each other all serious like. That's when you hear the first screeching echo from somewhere beyond that tunnel entrance. And it's shrill and it's high pitched.
Well, Guy,
and it sounds pissed off.
Guy quickly pulls out his 6-shooter and just like sort of holds it at a 45-degree angle. Very, very, very much in the like, this is what cool people do with it, right?
So
Not ready to shoot, but like he's just got to hold it out there.
So the torch at this point is kind of head down on the floor, yeah?
Yeah,
it's like very
okay.
dimly lit. So there's a bit of reflective light that might be underlighting you guys, but it's pretty much dark. It's as if
I
you're...
want to grab the torch and slide it across the floor so that the light is facing down the tunnel.
So just to clarify, maybe does the tunnel go down from our location? Like, does it ramp down from the room we're in? Does that make sense?
It's a good question. That would I'm happy to roll with a yes on that.
Okay, so we're like higher than the... Okay, cool. Are there any
And
other...
there's only one
I was gonna
entrance
ask the same.
exit. Okay.
Well, there's that entrance that you guys came through, and yes, that's like clearly the main entry point.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just kind of flip the torch so it's pointing down there.
Just also remind you guys that there are some like shafts of daylight that are sort of streaking through on crazy angles across the from the ceiling. They're lighting up, landing on a bit of crystal here or a bit of wall there. Probably about 10 or 15 of these shards of light. But they're it's almost like laser-like light. They don't kind of open up so much. It's almost like, there's probably a bunch of cracks in the pyramid structure or whatever. So there is some residual light in the room, but it's very localized to where those shards are and the dust that's moving through it, sort of thing.
How high above our heads is that light? Is it like unreachably high, or is it sort of within arm's reach?
Probably it's about 30 feet.
Okay. Interesting. So you've shined the torch up there. Ellis would just be like, guys, we should go. We should leave. Screw this bullshit. Let's get out.
And I'll turn to Ellis and go on.
Keep going. No, you keep going, man.
I was just going to say I'll turn to Ellis and say the only sound I can hear is coming from the way we got in, so I don't see any way out of this.
Is it conceivable? Let me know if I'm asking too much. But is it conceivable that we missed a pathway, or was this like the only way? Was this the ultimate end? This room.
I mean, you guys have those maps, so you could that were sent to your devices from HQ or whatever, and so if you wanted to, you could quickly have a peek at those and see what's going on, I guess.
Because I'm just thinking, we've come up, so the only room we haven't or the only level we haven't seen yet is the one above us.
Unless we're at the top. Check the map. I mean, we've all got the map, and you've got navigation, I think, so if you need a roll on it.
And furthermore, I'm just thinking, like, if we haven't missed anything, what if the way to the top level is from this room somehow? A way out, maybe, that's not, in the hordes of aliens?
Could be.
Towards the hordes of aliens.
Could be.
I'm just not sure how to look for it.
If you roll well, the Space Master will tell you.
But yeah, like roll in what? It's been hinted that I'm just trying to go off your poking the ribs here of like ways to hide things, and I'm thinking the only direction we haven't seen yet is up, and there's clearly room above us, right?
Well, I guess yes and no, because you've got these shards of light coming in, so logically you'd think that that's outside. So there is some evidence that suggests that, even think of, just to use something that I'm sure you remember well, is in Skyrim, some of those where the dragon language walls are, and you look up and there's that little gap of light from outside, but you're in a cave somewhere. Those moments? There's heaps of them in Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that sense.
Okay.
It's like maybe you're at the top, maybe there is some sort of weird ski sort of jumping trick you could do up the side of the mountain to try and scale it. But it's look, I guess again it's pretty low light, and from what you looked around, all the things you found were those glints of metal and things that were in the roof before, those weird hooks and stuff. So
What about the dome under the obelisk? Have I noticed it as well, or is that only Alice?
I guess it would be clear to you that because you've walked over to Ellis, and Ellis has made his way to the base by sort of weaving through a few of these larger crystalline structures, and there's definitely you would see it. It's kind of, I almost want to draw it for you, but it's like the square base of the obelisk is coming out of the very top apex of this dome stone.
Yeah. So can I inspect it? Perhaps, trying to see anything that looks unusual, or that might lead to something else, whether it's text or, I don't know, a seam, or I don't know.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess you've looked at it. Are there any other ways you could inspect it?
You mean, rolling wise?
No, this is me trying to tease a little bit more out of you because right, 'cause there is perception as a roll.
Yeah.
But thinking of how do you check for stuff like?
Alright. I'm gonna get down on my knees. How high is this thing? The dome.
So the dome is I guess on a small mound, in the center of this room. The dome probably starts at about your knee height, finishes at about maybe your chest height, and then that's where the obelisk sort of goes up from there.
Oh, okay. I don't need to get on my knees.
It's kind of large.
Yeah. Then can I sort of just walk around it slowly and look closer and also feel for things on it?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So as you do that, you're walking around and you're inspecting it and you're touching it. First thing you notice is that your finger stinks. The stench. From
As
that
in my
worm.
bitten finger. Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right.
You bring it up to your face as you're sort of looking at this, the base of this obelisk, and you get a waft of that, and you dry retch a bit, but you don't vomit this time. But yeah, you've got the stink finger, and and as you touch it, straight away you notice that it doesn't feel like the stone that it looks like.
Yeah, boys. All right. Do I liken it to another material, or is it completely foreign to me?
It just doesn't. It just doesn't feel like rock. It feels lighter than rock.
Lighter. All right. How do I find out more? Can I roll for perception? Or I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here, man.
I'm gonna stroll over and lean on the obelisk.
Yeah, actually, I'm
address.
gonna help you out here and call out, guys. There's something up with this dome here. It's not right.
Yeah, if I follow the call. I go back to where you are.
Cool. And what were you going to do, Callaway?
So I was gonna lean onto this obelisk and try and talk to Guy at the same time and say, look, at this point we just need to get out of here. What about those holes we were at before? There's got to be something happening there. There was stuff coming through from the other side.
I ain't going near that thing, man. I got the stink finger. You know what's up. You can do what you like, but I'm laying my chips on this dome over here.
Well, would you
Callaway's?
Oh, sorry, go on.
Callaway's strength is 10. As you lean on the obelisk and the sort of the dome, because the dome is more sort of chest height. The face height is where the obelisk sort of base starts. So you're leaning on the dome, and as you drop your weight onto it because you like got a bit of frustration. It shifts.
Yep.
It slides a bit, and like dust crumbles off the side of the obelisk.
Yeah. So I
But,
look
you know,
at I straight away look at Alice and Guy, and just kind of gesture at the obelisk.
Yeah, I mean, in a panic, I would just I would get my weight against it too. Does it keep going?
Yeah, it shifts another inch or so.
Guy stands back and with glee, and the perception that he discovered it. That's right. Put you back into it, boys. How far does it go?
Well, does it keep moving? Like, is it gonna?
It kind of like it's heavy. Like this, it's almost like the force has shifted it a little bit, and then it's grabbed again. And then when you've leant on it, it's pushed it a little bit, and it's grabbed again. But it's also making like where you dropped your shoulder into it, sort of thing, Ellis. It's the dome has crumpled slightly where you've done it.
Oh, hell. And is there being anything revealed underneath? Can we feel like a slight breeze wafting up to reveal any sort of tunnel, or is there material or something else underneath it that's hidden?
At the moment, it just looks like it's shifting on top of a brick or something, or on top of more stone. So the dome is like you've shifted it and crumpled it a little bit.
Okay. I'd probably be looking to grab something from my toolkit or my meta tool, something sharp and pointy, and I'd want to take a swing at it with something pointed. Like, instead of a blunt force against it, I want to see if it reacts in any way to a pointed
stab.
A stab, exactly.
All right, give us a combat primitive roll.
Combat. Okay, I like it.
Basically, what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
A wild dome appears.
I'm misappropriating the tool for this purpose. So, combat primitive -1 strength, I presume.
Yeah.
So it's just straight up 2d6. 11.
Cool. So yeah, the pointy end of your meta tool pierces this dome and kind of gets wedged in a bit. It's a bit stuck.
Okay. Was there any sort of crumpling, or did the dome like part open, or was it just like gone directly through? Like I was like stabbing plasticine or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that last part.
Okay. And can I withdraw the knife?
It's hard, but yeah, you managed to like pull it out.
Okay. And if I now go
as you pull it out, as you pull it out, the structural integrity of that part of the dome crumples under the weight of the obelisk a little bit, and so now the obelisk is. So you've stabbed the dome, and the obelisk is going.
Okay.
And there's like more dust trickling down off the edges of this of this obelisk. It's looking unstable.
Okay.
Ellis, you're onto it. Shove it in again and give it a wiggle.
You know what? Ellis complies. I mean, he doesn't see any other way out and is hoping, just from the fantasy bullcrap stories he's heard, that there's going to be a secret passage under here, or the road to escape, just like all the storybooks, is through that secret exit. So yeah, I maybe more specifically, rather than just stabbing straight into it, I take a more measured approach in like kind of half stabbing and like picking bits out, sort of thing.
Ellis complies. Yeah.
God damn it!
That's so good.
That's the quote of the night right there.
At this point, I'm once again got my head kind of in my hand, and I'm just kind of shaking it as he's digging at this like ancient obelisk with some sort of tool.
Yeah.
What did I tell you, Jet? The treasure hunt.
As you get into the dome a bit more, the structural integrity basically gives way of that side of the dome, and the weight of the obelisk crushes this dome. It's like the way arches work. You've taken a brick out somewhere midway down, and the weight of the obelisk is it basically starts to shift and it goes conk.
Yep.
It just slowly starts to fall, and as it's falling towards the ground, and like it's going to land on some of these crystal objects that have been scattered around the floor. As it's falling, and as you sort of like step back a little bit, you've got your meta tool with you. You manage to pull it out.
Yeah. Just pulled out just in time.
You pulled out just in time. And just before the load of the goes everywhere.
Yep.
That was quite a pregnant pause after that statement.
Good lord.
That's when the second high-pitched screech is heard.
Okay.
And it's inside. This screech is now clearly behind you, however many feet away the entrance of that tunnel was. So if you're in the center of this room, and there's this obelisk that's now starting to collapse. It's mid collapse, and it's doing this almost slow motion thing to start off with, and it's gaining speed as it starts to fall.
Okay.
Yeah. So now there's this kind of screeching noise.
Who's it behind?
So
I don't know. We're not really looking at a map of. We're not doing the full top-down view, but I guess you're all looking.
I would say I'm probably at the back at this point, furthest away from the obelisk.
Now, as the obelisk collapses, is it taking its base with it, or is it crumpling in on the base, so to speak? Does that make sense?
It's It's kind of like crumpling that dome shape, but the dome shape is moving with it as it starts to fall. So, I guess everyone's getting out of the way, right?
Yeah. Well, Ellis would have made a point of going like, as it crumples towards him, going like under it and around to the opposite side of where it's falling, like presuming that's going to be the safest place during the collapse, and would be looking for anything like what has now happened since this thing has now collapsed. Has the fated pathway opened itself up to us, or has something come out of the base of this obelisk? Is there something contained within, that kind of thing? Is there anything that strikes me as that happens? Figuratively.
Okay, so you observe, you're able to see that there's a cavity underneath this obelisk and underneath where this dome was. So in this mound of, blocks of stones and whatnot, so that makes up the larger, sort of more nondescript part of the base of this obelisk. There is definitely a cavity, but it's dark in this cavity. You can't quite see, obviously. It's almost like when you push the lid off a sarcophagus or whatever, you can't see straight in or whatever, but the walls, like whereas sarcophagus walls might only be this thick, the base walls are very thick. So the cavity is actually only quite a small cavity in relation to the size of this nondescript base.
Is it man-sized?
So as this is falling, no, it's like dog-sized, I guess.
Okay. So we couldn't fit through it.
No, and
we're talking like golden retriever or like Dachshund.
Probably like a Saint Bernard. And now that the obelisk is collapsing and it's like collecting, it's hit the roof. Like it's the point of it's hit the roof and it's like broken off the top of the obelisk. It's gouged a part of the roof, the part of the ceiling there, pulling some stone with it, because obviously this obelisk is pretty solid, and it's a pointing thing, and if here's the roof and the obelisk is moving, it's like pulling a piece of rock out of the ceiling, which brings a whole, another amongst the cloud and debris of dirt and dust and rock that falls from the ceiling. More light streams in, and just as that's happening is when the screech is coming in at the doorway of this room, and there is this primate-looking creature that has like 4 arms, 2 legs, and it's probably about the size of I don't know. Standing at the top of this, standing on, you can sort of see the outline of it. It's probably the size of I don't know, a 10-year-old, 12-year-old human, and it's sort of standing there with its 4 arms open, screeching really loudly. And so, first of all, mental save for everyone.
Okay.
Because this shit's kind of scary.
Oh, god damn it.
Damn it,
No,
man.
that's alright.
Same roll.
That suits me.
Nah, Ellis has got this.
Alright. Can I ask to react first, please?
Okay.
In a less than composed state?
But
You know
Why?
what?
Because
We should probably roll for initiative.
could this also potentially be the cliffhanger? Just saying.
Oh, it will be. Yeah, we'll tap out here in a second.
Okay, so
I
initiative
just want to
is...
just figure out.
I think initiative
I don't know how to roll
D8
for
plus
initiative.
dexterity.
There's a button here, common rolls.
It's actually...
Yeah,
Select
1d8
your
plus
token
dexterity.
It looks like it's actually working. So that's good.
Mine just says select your token first.
It came up.
Callaway Parker rolls a 1 plus 1.
No, mine's
No.
not coming up with anything.
Oh,
He's
okay.
rolling a 0.
But you
What's
can
going
just...
on?
It's just, Jamesy, it's just D8 plus dexterity.
Okay.
So, Guy's got an 8. Oh, damn.
Ooh.
So Callaway's first with a 9. Guy with an 8 is second. I'm third with a 3. Despite a mental effect save, god damn it. Does Monkey also roll for initiative?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's that? That's there's an initiative tracker here. I haven't used it in Roll20.
Yeah, there is.
Where is it? Initiative? Turn order?
No
Open
way.
side. I don't know anything about that.
I'm seeing things on my screen. Things are happening. The wheels are in motion.
No, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how to do the turn order thing.
That's all good.
So just remind me, it goes.
we need tokens. So it'll be
lowest?
highest to lowest. Higher initiative is
Anyone
better.
who failed their mental saves will miss the first turn because they're freaking the fuck out.
Oh, okay.
After that, it'll be Callaway, Guy, Monkey, Ellis. But I guess I have an initial reaction first.
Well, or does Monkey?
Oh, that's a good point.
Monkey? Who said monkey? It's a primate with 4 arms.
Same
Monkey.
thing.
Colloquially
monkey.
known as Monkey.
Yeah, Space Monkey.
About to be shot into space. Space monkey. I think we'll leave it there. And so Callaway and Guy squeal in fright at this arrival of this angry primate space monkey. Ellis has somehow managed to not only be unaffected by the stench of that strange worm bug, but is also not phased at all by the
Bro, he's
the
probably
arrival of this.
he's
Tested
probably
a
endured a
fortitude, bro.
lifetime of accidentally swallowing motor oil, so he's rock solid.
I got this, bro.
No chill.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, as the cliffhanger, it'd be like that slow motion, like everything's moving, and like the sounds also pitched down too. and Ellis will just be going, "Shoot it!" as he's kind of like diving down onto his belly to like take cover / check out this cavity as well, and that will be it, I guess.
So where are you landing? What are you doing?
I'm going straight down because this cavity, this possible container has like shown itself in the floor. So I'm kind of like yelling, "Shoot it!" and I would really quickly be going down to check to see if this thing that we're looking for is in here, because it seems like somewhere where you would hide an important thing.
Roll a luck save.
Dang it! Your arm gets bitten off. Damn it!
Oh, it's only half your face.
In the in the chaos, you crush your torch that was resting on the ground and destroy it.
Woo! Didn't need it anyway.
So it's now quite dark, apart from like one major rock stone brick, I guess, that has been gouged out of the ceiling by the obelisk, which is casting a very wide beam of light to like one small area of floor space in this room. There are a few other shards of light from cracks between some bricks and some stonework, and so the obelisk hasn't hit the ground completely yet, and there's a screeching primate and Calloway and Guy cowering, and Ellis is diving, having basically kicked and squashed his torch. And then we cut to credits.
Boom!
Cool.
Sick! That was awesome. Holy crap.
Dude, I got the stink finger.
Stink finger. So yeah, there you go. So thank you for everyone who watched. There was actually a few people hanging out tonight, and that's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Hopefully we'll be back in 2 weeks. That is the ambition. And this video will be up on YouTube in about a day or so. So there you go.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, before we kill the stream though, I'd like to ask you guys on a post game, because we're not pros at this. We're just awesome dudes, just giving it a crack, right? So, I just want to ask you guys, like, as a post session thing. This is our first session back in a while. You got some feedback. How did we go? What did we like? What didn't we like? A lot of the times on Reddit and other forums, people talk about this sort of post games, synopsis or analysis that people do in groups. But on all of the recordings of RPGs on the web, I've never seen anyone really talk about it. So I don't know. Let's be different. I just want to maybe open it up and see what how you guys felt the session went.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel like sometimes we spend a lot of time analyzing a particular situation when we could probably do with kind of moving it along and analyzing the next situation instead.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we got stuck with the. I suppose it should have been obvious that the dome under the obelisk was the key, but
yeah. Well, I mean that was a bit of a puzzle, but yeah, that was. But yeah, it was like, I don't know. Just when we were in the entranceway was probably the thing for me. Like we're all kind of doing like 3 rolls to see we know where we are, we know where we're going, but just kind of
Yeah. I don't have a huge amount of experience as a GM, but just instinctively I felt that we actually maintained a reasonably good pace throughout the session. Like we didn't linger on one thing so long. It might have been 1 or 2 that like maybe felt we lingered a bit too long, but we still managed to move forward. I still tried to, throw in a luck save here or whatever. What happened is this room I hadn't really planned out or anything, right? This is all sandbox improv.
Yeah.
I basically knew the premise of go get an artifact, get back to your ship, get away. I didn't expect us to, I kind of dropped a few seeds, right? So when a roll is successful, like Guy's roll on perception, he rolled a 12, I think, and there was some shiny things in the ceiling and the large crystals and stuff that are around the room and things like that. all of this is connected in my mind, but I'm not trying to give everything away. So it's like, oh, it's clearly this, it's clearly that. Like, I don't know. Do you want me to tell you what?
No.
Have I withheld too much information?
No, like that was
especially...
almost like a puzzle. So it's kind of. I wasn't expecting any more information for that. It was for me. It was more just like, for example, when we were in the entranceway, like we could have just plugged on and got in there, you know. Like, and I do it as well. Like I want to kind of almost game it to kind of see if I can get any extra information out of every single situation. But yeah.
For me, when we linger on that sort of stuff, it's more like character building. So I personally liked, for the most part, when we lingered, because it was like, like I said, character building. We get to expose a little bit of our own personalities. But on the subject of like withholding things, I think especially if all those little details become clear like after the fact, and there's that, oh, that's what it meant moment, then it's extra cool to hold it back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, this first like puzzly bit, I wouldn't say I was completely lost in that sense, but I did reach a bit of a point where I was unsure of the next step, personally, based on the feedback we were getting as we interacted with the environment. But that could well be more getting used to the world that we're in, and perhaps getting used to what we will be given as we interact with the world, and how you react as the Space Master. Because in retrospect, it was like certain things were clearly, like Rick said, obvious based on the information. Like there were more obvious routes we could have taken to solve this puzzle a little more quickly. Like us taking those cues on.
Like the way I go back to the first role-playing game that I ever played, which was D&D I must have been in year 8 or something like that at high school. And I never played role-playing again after maybe about 3 months of that. I never played role-playing again until recently, until I've been an adult or whatever. So there's one thing that happened in that one of my first sessions was I was rolling really well, and I was exposed to a lot of information that the rest of the party wasn't, so I had to keep going up to the GM, and the GM would either whisper something to me or give me some privileged information because I'm rolling like my rogue or whatever would see in the dark or something stupid crazy, and I just had all of this information about what was going on around us, and everyone else was like, what? And I didn't know what to do with all of that information. I think this is kind of similar to what you guys are getting. Like, I'm giving you guys on a meta level, I'm giving like Guy a bunch of information of stuff that he sees. You guys are hearing it, and maybe you're not. He's shining the light on the roof, and like. But there's two things. Like, I'm giving you a bunch of different seeds. Basically, what I'm saying is interact with one of these things. These are things that you can go up to, touch, poke, lick, taste, smell. Push, pull, probe, anything that you want to do.
Finger.
Anything that you want to do, and whatever happens, however you engage with that part of the environment. So just rolling for perception is just like walking into a room, seeing about 50,000 buttons, and then just saying, I look at the buttons. It's like, go do something with it. So I kind of, in a sense, rewarded Guy Powers' move of touching it. Like, he used a different sense rather than eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He effectively walked up to it and press interact.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of. I was almost thinking of like Monkey Island, like push pull, like classic kind of adventure game interactions.
Sure, any of those influences is gonna work in your benefit. Like the E key though, that's definitely like, when you're walking around a room or a puzzle room or something like that, you're like, oh, something's got to spin or twist or like, So from a meta level, because we'll move on past this scene, and then this isn't actually this is almost like a warm up scene, right? But from a meta level.
Check out chat. Steven's that savage.
Stevens.
Keep going.
But I guess from on a meta level and whatever, so there was a number of things that could have worked like interacted with each other as well in that scene. So there's cause and effect happening. For example, what does the obelisk do? What's it there for? What are all the crystals there for? Why are the crystals at the top of a pyramid where there's light coming in? Is that somehow like there's lots of different pieces of information that I gave you specifically because I hoped you'd use them in conjunction. Like it's like use the light with the crystal. Oh, it refracts, light in different directions and starts to, other crystals around it glow. Like I could have gone with a bunch of different things. But if you guys just walk into a room and look around at stuff, it's hard to.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not
so
the
you're
one
saying-
driving the actions. I'm driving the seeds.
Are you saying that your decision to make the base of the pyramid the key was like spur of the moment because I interacted with it? Right.
Yes.
So if we had interacted with the light and the crystal, it might have been that instead.
Exactly.
I gotcha. Cool. It's good to know
And
for
the
the future.
fact that you touched, and then the fact that you rolled a 12 was like I was going to build this. The light and the crystal was the first thing that I don't know I grabbed onto. But the fact that you rolled a 12 was like, well, I feel like I need to give you a second E key thing, and that was the scratches on the wall because I also wanted to indicate that there was something coming.
Yeah.
Which was the critters. That critter was going to come regardless of scratches on the wall. But I was like, oh, I guess I know that it's coming, so I'll put some scratches on the wall. And basically, the whole backstory around that is something has come along, scratched at the stone to get to these bugs to eat it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now you've got Stinkfinger. Guess who's coming after you?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, but do you see what I mean? Like that's how I'm trying to weave all of the bits and pieces together. And it's up to you guys to sort of. Like if I describe something, if you like the sound of that, or if you can see a way to use that in a puzzle or in a solution, and do it, and we'll go there. I'm not walking into this with 50 pages of a PDF.
Yeah.
Knowing, you can't do that. You have to go over here and touch that button first, or it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I didn't know how prepared you were, so I was under the assumption that you had like a specific solution to the puzzle. That's why I was sort of looking at a whole bunch of things.
I tend to
But cool. That's good. That's good to know for next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's dispel that. I have nothing prepped apart from a few dots on a mind map of like key events.
Yeah, I've really got to make a move, by the way. But yeah, good session, everybody, and I'll be on next time.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll call out a stream. So catch you all in 2 weeks, and we'll do more things.
Awesome. See you, everybody.
Peace.
See you guys.
Bye bye.